And more than 600,000 candidates have had their first taste of the basic education certificate examination today, writing religious and moral education and then English language. Ahead of the examination, Joy News spoke to some of the candidates who were upbeat about the exams today.
So I have some students here from the Nima cluster of schools. So who's going first? Your name?
Jasper.
Jasper.
Apeto.
Okay, so how well are you prepared today?
I'm very happy. I'm prepared. I've prepared myself so well that I can pass these exams.
Okay. All right. And I said, gentleman here, come. Don't be shy. What's your name?
Joby Selom.
Joby Selom. How well are you prepared for today?
I'm super prepared for the exams.
You're fully prepared. So what should we expect from you?
Good grade, yes, good grade.
Good grades. All right. So join me. What about you? How well are you guys prepared?
We are prepared very well.
And your name?
Hayat Mohammed.
Hayat Mohammed. All right. So what paper are you writing today?
RME in English.
RME in English. All right, sure. Thank you very much. I have another person here. I need another guy. I need you. All right. So what's your name?
Hakim Adams.
Hakim Adams. How well are you prepared for today's paper?
I'm really excited. I'm very prepared.
Okay. All right. As you can see, we are here at the Nima cluster of schools. The kids are super excited right now, geared up for today's paper. And today they are writing RME, and of course they'll write a second paper later on in the day. So it's just some few minutes to time. The students are getting inside to write their first paper, which is RME.
The West African Examination Council, WAEC, says the exams has been generally smooth across the country, except in 3 regions where some persons have been apprehended for trying to unlawfully share their exam papers to others for help. The Education Ministry earlier released some data for this year, and it is very encouraging from what we understand. There you have it on your screens, indicating what the dynamics are. It appears that the female population going into the exams is way higher than that of the male population, which is hovering around 300,323, with the female counterparts amounting to some 300,391. So a slight increase there in terms of the numbers. Then when it comes to the number of participating schools, there we have it, 18,983. Number of examination centers, 2,137. And then the number of supervisors we have going into supervised examination is 2,137. We have 2,000 assistant supervisors and some 21,027 invigilators. So that's the arrangement as we have it in terms of the data going into this very examination. Shortly, we'll be telling you and taking you around some of the centers to find out how the examination has gone so far. Before that, though, let's take a look at the recent data we are receiving from EduWatch on the possible number of fallouts from the basic education system. They're looking at it from the total number of male and female populations, and you see that trend of an increasing rate right from 2014 all the way to 2023, where we're hovering around 49.99 for the male population. And when it comes to the general mix of candidates, we have 50 for the male population. So we're achieving or have surpassed parity. Beyond that as well, EduWatch is pointing out that there are some concerns when it comes to the percentage change in terms of the level of parity, as we have 2014 when we started, ranging somewhere around 0, but now where we are now in 2023 is around 8.77. So that's what we're dealing with in terms of the data now. So what we have now has got to do with the enrollment versus the junior high school completion, and you see a stark difference there of about 400,000 people unaccounted for, because 600,000 are going in for the examination, for the basic examination, which is starting now, but you have 900,942 persons starting off at the same level. So where did they go? That's the question we're asking here. Divine Pair is an education specialist and also programs evaluator with the Africa Education Watch, is joining us shortly for some study on this. Before that, here's my colleague Jacqueline Yeboah, who's been to some of the centers, and here's what we found out.
So the students or the candidates at Kanda cluster of schools just finished with the first paper. So you have some students here who are willing to share their experience with us. Kindly join me here. Can you tell us your name?
Please, my name is Jude Apia-Boateng.
All right, Jude. How was the first paper? How was it like?
Oh, Auntie, please, it was fine.
It was fine.
Yes, please.
Difficult, easy?
I won't say difficult. It was just fine. I was able to do it, so yeah, it was fine.
Okay, so what aggregate are you expecting to get in this?
I won't pose any aggregates yet. I'll just be calm and wait for what I got.
Kindly join me here. Okay, so tell us your name.
Please, my name is Obed.
Obed. Now, Obed, how was the paper, your first paper?
Please, it was a bit difficult, but I would say it is 90% easy because all what my teachers taught me, I saw it on the paper. Okay. And I was able to write it well.
All right, so it was just a little bit difficult. All right, so the next person should just join me here. Okay. Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, so how was the paper for you?
It is okay.
It was okay. It wasn't difficult.
Nah.
All right, so you're expecting to pass out with flying colors?
Yes.
All right, we wish you all the best. I want some here. Some should join me here. All right, so how was the first paper?
Very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
No issues with it?
No issues.
Okay, what about you?
Oh, very good. But a bit difficult.
A bit difficult. What happened? Yeah,
It's very tricky unless you
If you're not
read
smart,
it. If you're not smart, you can't understand it and write it. So
Answer the question. So that
I didn't hear you well.
so you have to take your time to answer the question. When you rush, you fail.
When you rush, you fail. Okay, any other person? How was the paper for you?
somehow tricky, but also it's cool.
Okay, so how well are you guys preparing for the next paper? Your next paper is in the afternoon.
100%.
300% prepared.
100% prepared. Yes. All right, so I wish you all the best. With me here are students from Angel's Daycare Preparatory School inside Nima. And how was the papers? How was the first paper?
It was nervous, but going through it, we were able to do it. Like, we managed to write something.
Okay. All right, what about you?
Actually, I learned, so I was able to write something.
Okay. What about you? Any issues?
No,
first paper.
I don't have any issues. Just that it's such a great and nice experience. Yeah.
All right.
Nervous.
You were
Very nervous.
You were very nervous. Why?
Like, it's my first time, so anything.
But I'm sure after today you are confident enough.
I'm confident enough. I'm cool. Okay. I'm confident enough.
All right. And what about you? How was the first experience like?
Oh, madam, for me, I was nervous, but I think the second paper will encourage me to do better.
Okay. So how well are you preparing for the second paper?
Oh, we are all trying our best. We will all do well in the second paper. Yes.
What about you? How well are you preparing for the next paper?
I'm actually ready because after the first paper, I'm not ready.
You're not ready. You are not scared about anything. All right. So how was it?
Oh, it was good.
It was good. No issues.
No.
Okay. What about you?
It was a bit difficult, but we managed it somehow.
Okay. Why? Were you not taught or you forgot? Which is
We taught, but due to pressure, so we forgot some of them.
due to
Pressure, like the way we have never written BECE before, so we were like, I don't even know how to say it.
But I'm sure the next paper you wouldn't feel like that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So join me here too. How's the paper for you?
It was normal.
It was normal. Any issues?
No, please.
No issues.
Yes.
So how well are you prepared for the next paper? What is the next paper?
English.
How well are you prepared for it?
I'm going to learn, so I'll be well prepared for it.
Okay. All right. So how are you?
I'm fine.
How was the paper?
It was great.
It was great. No issues on your end.
No.
Okay. So how are you prepared for the next paper?
I'm ready.
You are ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right, so we're still here at Nima Cluster of Schools, still speaking to the students on their first experience. They'll go in soon to write their second paper, which is English language for today.
Well, let's get some updates for you from the West Africa Examination Council. CAPI is the head of PR at WAEC, is joining us now. Thank you, sir, for your time. I believe the second and final paper of the day has also come to an end. What's the assessment for the first day?
Good afternoon. Thank you. So far, everything has gone very well. There have been no reported incidents yet. I guess we've had a good day so far. No reports have come from anywhere, so I guess everything's okay.
We know now that we're having more female candidates going into this examination as compared to the male population. Is that something worthy of celebrating?
Well, I would say so because over the years we've had the males dominating in the educational area. So if there are many more females who are coming up, I think it's a good thing, and it is worth celebrating for us as a society and as a nation.
How about reports already about some incidents happening on day one? I'm not too sure if it relates directly to exam malpractice, but I'm sure you've received some reports of some happenings across the country, have you?
Yes, we've received a few reports from the Ashanti region where one individual was picked up. He was trying to approach the examination hall with some prepared material for the candidates. We've also picked somebody up from Tema West, that's Tema Central actually, where the lady had a tablet that had some information that she intended passing on to the candidates. In the Central region, Dunkonofin, to be specific, we've picked up 2 people who were answering the questions in the middle of the paper that they intended sending in to the candidates who were writing the exam. Yeah.
What do you intend to do about that as well?
Well, these are criminal cases according to our rules and regulations governing the conduct of the examination. And anybody who breaches any of these rules, what we do is we simply report you to the law enforcement agencies. They apply our rules, and then they are charged. They are sent to court.
Interesting. And looking at the other papers or examination that may follow after today's session, are you putting in place some measures to check the recurrence of what you've witnessed on day one?
Certainly, it's an ongoing exercise, and so we are not going to relent. We still have our monitors in the field. We have our own officers who are monitoring the centers. We have the National Investigative Bureau who are working with us. We have also our own locally recruited personnel who are monitoring these centers. And so we'll maintain the momentum, we'll sustain the momentum until the exams are over.
I see. And for WAEC itself, are there some reforms that you're considering, having looked at the space and what's been happening over the years?
We have a few of the areas that have come up as malpractice-prone areas. So these are places that we are intensifying our monitoring activities. So going forward, maybe from day 2, day 3, you find out that in some areas would have increased the personnel around it to ensure that there's sanity prevailing in those areas as well.
Looking at what's happened, are you considering an investigation that may eventually lead to an outright cancellation of some of the papers? Or is that's far-fetched, do you think?
Well, depending on the kind of infraction that has been recorded, each of those infractions have its commensurate punishment. And so if it's a case of mobile phones, obviously that will lead to cancellation. If it's about foreign material, but so far the ones that we've picked up are people who are coming from outside, and so these people will be charged to court and some penalties slapped against them.
Are there any unique features of this year's examination? The fact that you're having to do that in August?
Well, we not necessarily, it's just the month that has changed, but also I think this was done last year. We've done some serialization of the questions, especially the objective test. And so you'll find out that in some districts, in some regions, even though they are the same questions, the positions on the question paper may differ, or the position of a particular answer will differ from one candidate to another.
So we don't have candidates writing the same examination, if going by what you're telling us now?
No, it's the same examination, the same questions we have for all the candidates across the country. The only thing we've done is to change the positions of the questions on the question paper, or we change the position of the answer. If, for example, for candidate A, the answer to question 1 is B. For candidate B in another region or district, the answer for question 1 could be D.
There's a potential danger there as well. The fact that drawing up your marking scheme could create some challenge. And if anything goes wrong, any of the scripts goes to any other region, there may be a challenge there, you agree?
We have put in place measures to curtail or to forestall any such eventuality. Each of them is coded, and the candidates are supposed to shade the appropriate code. Besides, from whichever district or region that has a certain set of questions, we have our system set up ready to, score without making any mistakes. It's something we've done before, and we are confident that we are going to do the right thing again.
We cannot wrap up without talking about your relations with government, because the Ministry of Education, you've been on them for the payment of arrears, some amount of money they owe you. How have you dealt with that, and how is that impacting generally on the organization of the examination this year?
Well, so far for BECE, all arrears have been settled for 2021 and 2022. But for 2023, we received about 10.5 million. That's just about 15% of the total payment due. Now, the exams are conducted in stages, from the printing stage to the conduct, to the marking, and the processing of results. Now, we think that for now, we'll be able to conduct the examination, but going forward, in terms of marking and processing of results, will require some further, funding to be able to complete the process.
I see. So going forward, any message for parents who are out there anxious that, well, this year's examination may be tough for the candidates? I guess it's always the case.
Well, we have always used the same syllabus. We haven't changed anything as far as the questions are concerned. The same questions that we have put out there for the children to answer. I believe that if the right approach is, made, or if our children are, studying very well or preparing appropriately, I think that they should be able to come out with flying colors.
And I guess you take this opportunity to also caution them based on what you've seen on day one already.
Yeah, we just want to caution parents to desist from encouraging their children to go to examination centers with mobile phones, or soliciting support from people who are around them, be they vigilators or people just, roaming around or loitering, because you never can tell who they are and what support they are giving, whether it is the right thing or not. We want to urge them to do independent work, encourage their children. You've put them through school for a number of years. We believe the teachers have prepared them adequately, and so they should be in a position to write the examination and come out successful. I just want to add that we also want to appeal to our drivers on the roads. This time around, we have children who have moved from their comfort zone to other areas to write this examination. Some may be crossing the roads, some may be just to buy food, or just hurrying up to get to examination centers. We want to plead with drivers and other motorists that they should be wary of these young ones and allow them to cross the road at the appropriate places so that they can get to the examination center successfully and write the examinations. Thank you.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us here on The Pulse. Meanwhile, as I indicated earlier, Africa Education Watch is also raising some concerns. Divine is with Africa Education Watch is joining us now. Thank you so much, sir. We're just dealing with the data earlier. The fact that we have 600,000 people sitting the examination, and yet when this all started, I'm talking about their academic trajectory, you had close to 900,000 students at the basic level. What do you suspect these people have gone to?
Thank you, and good afternoon to your viewers. Let me use the opportunity to wish all BECE candidates the very best of luck in the ongoing examination. Yes, we over the weekend did cohort analysis to understand the withholding power of our educational system. One of the ways to find out the effectiveness of an educational system is to find out its ability to retain students that have been enrolled. And we noticed that these BECE candidates, when they enrolled in 2012-2013 academic year, they were over 900,000, but currently the figure stands over 600,000, which means about 33% of them we can't find their whereabouts. We actually cannot tell where they are right now. We can only theorize that some may have dropped out, some may have repeated, and we're also recently learning from the MP, one of the MPs who is on the educational committee, that some also live to international programs. So these are plausible reasons why they may not have been part of this cohort. But what we are particular about is, since this remains theories, it's very important that we carry out tracer study to understand the specific reasons and the magnitude at which they may have influenced the student inability to be part of this cohort. Because if we are giving one of the reasons as they possibly repeating, then we need to remind ourselves that repetition is not something that we are even encouraging in our educational system anymore. So if it is one of the reasons, it means that the policy for teachers not to repeat students or pupils, there's a challenge with that, and we need to go back to the drawing board to see how we can address
okay. Yeah, so how do we deal with the problem now, and what's the way forward from your perspective?
Yes, we in our policy brief recommended a tracer study, and at EduWatch, that is what we are currently trying to do. We have started to have a discussion to understand where these people may have actually been. So we are drawing our research plan to be able to carry a tracer study on these people. So at our end, that is what we are trying to do, and we recommend same for government and the Ministry of Education also to be interested in doing that. And also have a general conversation on the ability of our educational system to withhold students that have enrolled at the beginning of the academic year or the beginning of their basic education, and how they are able to progress along the line, because there still remains quite some of the challenges that militate against retention in school, especially for girls, despite the fact that we have attained gender parity in our educational system. When it comes to progression, there are significant issues that we need to address.
And in terms of policy, immediate ones that may at least close the gap, what immediate considerations would you want the Ministry of Education to look at?
Yes, so one is that since one of the theories remain that some of the pupils continue to be repeated, then we need to look at that policy that actually does that. I won't use the word ban repetition, but that actually detects repetition. So we need to look at that, because what the GES is encouraging is that the students or the pupils are promoted, and then in their new class, a special kind of intervention is provided for them. We need to understand whether that is happening or the repetition is still ongoing, because repetition actually had its negative effect when it comes to student retention in school. Is this something that is actually happening? So what can immediately be done is for GES to do a X-ray analysis to understand if repetition is something that is happening in our schools. And then also, of course, when the Ghana Statistical Service came out with the 2020 population census data, we understand that 1.4 million children of age 4 to 18 are not in school, which means that some of them have dropped out. And tells that we still have issues with dropout in our educational system that need immediate attention. I appreciate the fact that over the years there have been some intervention, especially targeting girls' retention. And if you look at the data that actually writing a BECE this year, you realize that the girls have actually been significantly retained, and that's why we are able to see their number.
At least, in fact, we've surpassed the parity level, and there are many who are wondering how we can sustain that.
The parity?
Yes.
Yeah, it's because of the interventions that we have seen from state actors and non-state actors. some of these programs tell that they are yielding fruition. So we need to sustain this particular program. Over the years, there have been a lot of programs on girls' retention in school, and we are seeing that yes, this is yielding results. As you rightly mentioned, we have surpassed the gender parity rate in our school, and the girls are relatively even beginning to do well aside the retention in school. Their academic performance will also relatively improving. So we need to sustain the programs that we are doing to retain our girls in school, and also extend same to the boys, because what is generally looking at is that it seems the boys are beginning to lag behind. If you look at one of UNESCO's recent publications, the boys are beginning to lag behind in terms of mathematics and English, and also in terms of retention schools. So I think it's time we begin to balance the skills so that we don't see the adverse effects of some of these programs targeting the girls affecting the boys.
Okay. Thank you for spending some time with us, Divine, with the Africa Education Watch. You're watching The Pulse here on the Joy News channel. When we get back, we'll take you to Niger. The Economic Community of West African States and its leaders are set to hold yet another meeting on Thursday over the political situation there. But that's jeopardizing the peace of West Africa. How do we stabilize the situation? We have a lot more coming your way. Please stay.